Welcome everybody to a look at a 4K Criterion Collection release, and it is 1940s His Girl Friday. So this is directed by Howard Hawks, who also did the similar Bringing Up Baby a couple of years before this. But my absolute favourites from him will be the likes of The Big Sleep, To Have and Have Not, and Rio Bravo. So this is a screwball comedy clocking in at 92 minutes long. Stars Rosalind Russell, whose only other film I've seen her from is the film Picnic, which came out 15 years later after this. Really need to get into more of her films. It also stars Cary Grant, who is in like of Suspicion, North by Northwest, and Charade. And finally, Ralph Bellamy, who is in like The Wolfman, The Ghost of Frankenstein, and The Professionals. So Walter Burns is an irresistibly conniving newspaper publisher, desperate to woo back his paper star reporter, who also happens to be his ex-wife. She's threatening to quit and settle down with a new beau, but as Walter knows, she has a weakness. She can't resist a juicy scoop. So despite the insanely fast-paced dialogue at times of this screwball comedy film getting a little overwhelming at times, this is still a funny and engrossing effort that has two great lead performances. The dialogue between Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell really is the highlight of this film because they just absolutely bounce off of one another and they've got really good chemistry. The supporting cast is also good. It is well paced. The script is well written, and for a film that is now 85 years old, this does feel remarkably modern in its execution, be it from the camera work to the script. So yeah, really enjoyable effort, and just as good as Bringing Up Baby, which, like I said, is a similar kind of effort in terms of tone, and that also stars Cary Grant. So yeah, gets 4 out of 5. And yeah, this 4K is pretty damn good as well. So we have 3 discs with this release. We have the 4K, we have the Blu-ray with, I believe, most of the special features on it. And then we have a 3rd disc, which has the film, what is it called again? The front page, which has had a 4K restoration made from a recently discovered print of director Lewis Millstone's pre-third version with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. So that is the original version of this film, which had 2 male actors in the lead role rather than a male and a female. Howard Hawks mainly did that to add a romance element to it and also to help set it apart from a previous film. I've not yet seen the front page, purely because I wanted to just review this film first. But yeah, I will definitely get around to that. I have seen a few of Lewis Millstone's films and enjoyed them, so I'm sure I'll enjoy that one. So yeah, but it's nice to know that they've done a proper 4K restoration of that film, which is from 1931, clocks in at 101 minutes long, has mono audio, black and white, and is in 133 to 1 aspect ratio. So yeah, we'll definitely get around to seeing that at some point. But yeah, His Girl Friday is also in mono audio and is in 137 to 1 aspect ratio. It's had a new 4K digital restoration as well with the uncompressed monaural soundtrack. And one thing I like about this is that we've got the typical kind of write-up from a Criterion Collection release, but because this is obviously based around, you know, newspapermen and reporters and such, they've actually done the write-up in the same kind of fashion as a newspaper from the same kind of time, which I really, really like. So the Post saves Earl Williams, which is part of the story. And yeah, inside you get the perfect remarriage. Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant at their finest. Howard Hawks 2 by Farron Smith name. You also have the cast on there and the credits. And then you got Stop the Presses, Millstone's Director's Cut, found and restored by Michael Srago. And that's in a different colour. That'll set it apart from the first write-up. And yeah, that carries on through there. And then you got About the Master as well, in terms of the front page, that is, as well as the cast and crew from the front page. And then you also got About the Master of His Girl Friday, which we'll get through in a second. So yeah, there's also shots from the front page as well on stage. So having not seen the film, I'm not sure what those shots are from. So in terms of His Girl Friday, a little bit hard to read because it's quite thin paper and therefore the light does shine through the back, so I'll have to fold it over. So it's presented in its aspect ratio 137 to 1, like I've already said. That's on the 4K disc, and then on 133 to 1 on the Blu-ray disc. Undertaken by Sony Pictures Entertainment, this new 4K restoration was created from the 35mm original nitrate camera negative. The monorail soundtrack was remastered from the 35mm original soundtrack negative, and the future is presented in Dolby Vision HDR on the 4K UHD disc and high definition SDR on the Blu-ray. So yeah, they've clearly gone through some decent effort there in terms of restoring it, although it isn't Criterion that has actually restored it. So whether or not that plays into your idea of whether or not to purchase it or not is another thing entirely. Yeah, we don't have reversible sleeve artwork. In terms of extras on the disc, though, outside of the front page, we've got an interview with film scholar David Bordwell, archival interviews with His Girl Friday director Howard Hawks, featurettes from 1999 and 2006 about Hawks and actor Rosalind Russell. We got a radio adaptation of of His Girl Friday from 1940, program about the restoration of the front page, program about playwright and screenwriter Ben Hetch, radio adaptations of the play at the front page from 1937 and 1946, trailers, English subtitles for deaf and hard of hearing as well. So yeah, really good release. I really especially like the physical extra of this. I know it's not something that is perhaps something that's entirely new or anything like that, but I really like the fact that they've done a couple of write-ups in this form, in this kind of manner to fit the film itself. It would be cool if they could do that with other films that have a kind of a theme and that you can translate it to in terms of a physical aspect. But obviously not every film has that, so it's not always possible. But yeah, really like that. It's not on the thickest of paper, granted, like I said, and it does seem to crease a fair bit, but you know, it is a nice little extra and not something that they technically had to do, but I really like it regardless. And yeah, I'm not sure who the new artwork is by. I believe it's new artwork anyway. It doesn't seem to say, but I do like the new artwork that has on the go as well. It might not even be new artwork. I can't remember seeing the poster looking like that, but it might well not be anyway. But still, really good film. Highly recommend seeing it, especially if you wanted to get into your screwball comedies from the 30s or 40s. So this is a really good introduction into that genre. But nonetheless, if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.